Okay, so have you ever actually seen molten glass being shaped?
It's incredible.
It's kind of mesmerizing, isn't
Yeah.
it? We're going to dive deep into the world of glass-forming machine operators today.
Like,
Um, and it's a career path that's way more fascinating, I think, than most people realize.
it really is.
I mean, think about it.
Yeah, you've got this blend of like industrial precision with almost like an artist's touch.
Yeah.
And then the range of things they make. Like, it's not just windows.
Right.
Think about like those sleek glass facades on skyscrapers,
Yeah.
or even just like the delicate stem of a wine glass.
I know, right?
It's pretty amazing.
Talk about some hidden talent out there.
Yeah.
We've been kind of digging through RoleCatcher's insights on this career,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm already hooked
Yeah.
just reading through some of this stuff.
It's really interesting.
And for anyone who hasn't heard of him, RoleCatcher is like having a personal career coach kind of in your pocket, constantly feeding you these tips and tricks for getting ahead,
Yeah, it's true.
career-wise.
They've got a ton of resources on there.
Yeah.
But today we're zeroing in on their deep dive into the life of a glass-forming machine operator.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you, it is not for the faint of heart.
No.
This
It
is,
sounds like this is a tough job.
you need nerves of steel to work with molten glass all day.
Oh, yeah. You definitely do.
But before we get into all that, all the nitty-gritty of it, let's just break down like what a glass-forming machine operator actually does.
Yeah, so, I mean, at its core, it's about transforming molten glass into a specific form using specialized machinery.
Okay?
So think of it like sculpting. But instead of clay, you're working with a material that's over 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's hotter than my oven on
Yeah.
pizza night.
For sure, for sure.
Wow. So what are some of the skills that you need to kind of wrangle molten glass like that?
Right.
Is it all about physical strength or is there more to it?
I mean, there's definitely a physical aspect to it.
Okay.
You know, you're working in a factory setting,
Right.
often around heat, like we said.
Yeah.
And the machinery can be massive.
Right.
But it's not just brute strength. You know, it's about
Exactly.
precision,
Right.
timing, and a deep understanding of how glass behaves at different temperatures.
So you really got to know what you're doing.
Oh, absolutely.
It sounds like you need a delicate touch, even when you're dealing with something so inherently powerful.
Yeah, I mean, it's a real skill.
Yeah.
You know, it takes time to learn.
What about these massive machines that you were mentioning?
Yeah.
What's it like to operate one of those things?
So operating those machines is where the real skill comes in.
Okay.
You know, imagine like a giant contraption with levers, buttons, and gauges galore. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It takes real technical know-how to understand how to calibrate those machines,
Mm-hmm.
troubleshoot any issues,
Yeah.
and just make sure the final product meets like the exact specifications.
Right.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
That sounds like a lot of problem solving involved.
Oh, absolutely. I bet those machines have a mind of their own sometimes.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
So what happens when things go wrong?
Well, things can and do go wrong.
Right.
Glass can cool too quickly.
Right.
Machines can malfunction.
Right.
And unexpected variations in the molten glass can throw the entire process off.
Oh, wow.
So that's where a glass-forming machine operator's ability to, like, think on their feet,
Okay.
troubleshoot those issues, and come up with, like, creative solutions really shines.
Interesting. So it's
Yeah.
not just about like following a set of instructions.
Right.
You really have to be adaptable and think critically under pressure.
Exactly. Yeah, you've got to be able to react quickly.
Wow. And I can see why RoleCatcher emphasizes those skills when they're talking about this.
Oh, yeah, they're essential.
But let's get back to those amazing things that they make.
Okay.
What are some of the coolest products that a glass-forming machine operator might work on?
Oh, where do I even begin? We're talking everything from, like, everyday items like glass containers for food and beverages
Right.
to, like, highly specialized components used in fiber optic cables.
Wow.
Aerospace technology.
Really?
I mean, they might be making the glass for your car windshield one day,
Wow.
and then the lenses for a high-powered telescope the next.
Oh, wow. I never realized
It's pretty incredible.
the sheer variety of things
Yeah.
that are made
There's so much variety.
through this process.
In the products.
That's incredible. But with all this talk about specialized machinery and technical expertise, it makes you wonder about the work environment itself.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, paint us a picture.
Okay.
What's a typical day like for a glass-forming machine operator?
So it's a factory setting.
Okay.
So it can be hot, noisy, and fast-paced.
Sorry?
You'll likely be working in shifts, maybe even overnight, depending on, like, the production schedule.
Right.
It's demanding work,
Yeah.
both physically and mentally. And it requires like a certain level of stamina to handle those long hours on your feet.
Right. So not exactly a desk job,
No, not at all.
but it sounds like there's a certain rhythm to it,
Mm-hmm.
a sense of satisfaction in seeing those molten blobs of glass
Yeah,
transform into something tangible.
exactly. There's a certain pride that comes with like mastering a craft like this,
Right.
knowing that you're part of a process that's been around for centuries.
It's like a blend of ancient artistry and modern technology all coming together
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
on the factory floor.
It's a really cool blend.
Yeah, that's really interesting. But let's be honest.
Yeah. Okay.
A lot of people choose a career path based on the potential rewards.
Mm-hmm.
What does that look like for a glass forming machine operator?
Well,
Is it just about the paycheck, or are there other perks?
I mean, the paycheck is definitely a factor.
Right.
Skilled glass forming machine operators are in high demand,
Okay.
which, means competitive salaries. And because the work requires, specialized knowledge and training,
Right.
those salaries tend to be higher than a lot of other manufacturing roles.
Okay, so that's good.
Yeah,
That's always good to hear.
definitely.
But beyond the financial aspect, what are some of the like the intangible rewards?
Right.
Like what makes this career path, fulfilling beyond just a steady paycheck?
I think there's a real sense of accomplishment
Okay.
in seeing a product go from raw material to finished form,
Right.
especially when you've played a key role in that transformation.
Yeah, okay.
It's about taking pride in your craftsmanship, and knowing that you're creating something tangible that people use every day.
I could see that being incredibly rewarding.
Yeah.
But it's not just about the day-to-day work, right?
Right?
RoleCatcher also highlights some pretty exciting opportunities
Oh, yeah.
for growth and advancement in this field.
Absolutely, yeah. It's not a dead-end job by any means.
No.
In fact, there's a very clear career ladder for those who are ambitious and, eager to take on more responsibility.
So you're telling me I could start as a glass forming machine operator
Yeah.
and work my way up to what, CEO of a glass empire?
Well, maybe not CEO,
Okay.
but you could definitely climb the ranks to a supervisory or management position.
Okay.
It's not uncommon for experienced operators to move into roles where they're overseeing entire production lines,
Wow.
training new hires,
Oh.
or even developing new processes and techniques.
Wow. So there's a real opportunity to become a leader
Oh, yeah,
and a mentor in this field.
absolutely.
That's really cool.
As you gain that experience and expertise, you become a very valuable asset to any glass forming operation.
Right.
And those leadership skills can open doors to all sorts of opportunities, both within the company and beyond.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Speaking of expertise,
Yes.
I'm curious about what it takes to really excel in this field. We've talked about the physical demands, the technical skills,
Mm-hmm.
but are there certain personality traits or aptitudes that give someone an edge
That's a great question.
in the world of glass forming?
It's not just about being strong or mechanically inclined.
Right.
The best glass forming machine operators I've encountered, they tend to be incredibly detail oriented
Okay.
and have a real knack for problem solving.
Right.
Remember, when you're working with molten glass,
Yeah.
even a tiny miscalculation can have major consequences.
Right. So it's almost like being a detective in a way,
Yeah,
constantly analyzing,
Okay.
observing, making sure everything's running smoothly.
exactly. You need to be able to spot subtle changes in the molten glass,
Mm-hmm.
anticipate potential problems before they even arise,
Wow.
and adjust your approach on the fly.
Wow.
It takes a certain level of intuition and quick thinking that you just don't find in every job.
Right.
Yeah.
And let's not forget about the importance of teamwork.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
We've kind of touched on it briefly,
Mm-hmm.
but how crucial is collaboration in this line of work?
It's essential.
Uh-huh.
I mean, even though you might be operating a machine independently,
Right.
you're still part of a larger team,
Mm.
all working towards this common goal.
Yeah.
So effective communication with your colleagues, from the furnace operators to the quality control inspectors is key to ensuring a safe and productive work environment.
It's really interesting.
Yeah.
So it's not just about focusing on your own tasks.
Right.
It's about understanding how your role fits into the bigger picture.
Exactly. And being able to communicate clearly,
Right.
listen to others' perspectives, and work together to solve problems. That's what really separates the good operators from the great ones.
So it sounds like there's a real sense of camaraderie.
Oh,
on the
yeah.
factory floor.
Absolutely.
Like a shared understanding of the challenges and rewards
For sure.
of working with such a unique
Hmm.
and demanding material.
There definitely is.
And
Yeah.
there's a bond that forms when you're working alongside people who like share your passion for the craft
Yeah.
and understand the intricacies of the process.
Yeah.
It's a special kind of work environment, that's for sure.
It's like this hidden world that most people never get to see.
Right.
This world of molten glass, roaring furnaces,
Yes.
and these skilled craftspeople who keep the industry humming along.
That's a great way to put it. And it's a world that's constantly evolving too.
Right. You've mentioned how technology is changing the game for glass forming machine operators.
Yeah.
What are some of the specific advancements that are shaping the future of the field?
Well, we're seeing more automation in glass forming.
Okay.
So like with robotic arms and computer-controlled systems taking over some of the more repetitive
Right.
and physically demanding tasks.
Okay.
And that doesn't mean robots are replacing human workers.
Yeah.
But it does mean that the role of the operator is shifting
Okay.
toward a more like supervisory and technical direction. So more brain power and less brawn.
In a way, yes.
Okay.
The future of glass forming will require operators who are comfortable working alongside this advanced machinery,
Right.
troubleshooting like complex technical issues, and just adapting to new software and control systems.
So it's more important than ever for like aspiring glass forming machine operators
Oh, for sure.
to embrace lifelong learning
Absolutely.
and kind of stay ahead of that technological curve.
Yeah.
So what are some ways what makes them so valuable in this field?
Well, I think apprenticeships offer like a very unique blend of theoretical knowledge and practical experience. So
Yeah.
you're learning the ins and outs of the craft from like seasoned professionals.
Right.
You're getting a feel for the day-to-day realities of the job, and you're building those valuable connections within the industry.
All right.
It's like a fast track to mastering the craft and launching like a successful career in glass forming.
So it sounds like a win-win
It really is.
for both the apprentice and the employer.
Absolutely.
The apprentice gets those valuable skills and experience, and the employer gets to shape the next generation
Right.
of glass forming talent.
Exactly.
That's really cool. And let's not forget about the personal satisfaction that comes with like passing on
Oh, yeah.
your knowledge and expertise to
Quite.
someone who's eager to learn.
It's a rewarding experience
Yeah.
for everyone involved.
It's like keeping the tradition of glassmaking alive, ensuring that the craft continues to thrive
Yeah.
for generations to come.
Exactly. And who knows, those apprentices might just be the ones who develop the next groundbreaking innovation in glass forming technology.
Now that's an exciting thought.
It is.
It seems like we've covered a lot of ground here,
We have.
from the day-to-day tasks of a glass forming machine operator to the future of the field and the importance of continuous learning.
Yeah, absolutely.
But before we move on to that big question of like job security in the age of automation,
Okay.
I think it's worth taking a moment to appreciate the artistry
Oh, yeah.
and creativity that's often overlooked in this industry.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
People often think of glass forming as this like purely industrial process,
Right.
but there's a real art to it.
Yeah.
Especially when you start talking about like, specialized techniques like glass blowing,
Right.
glass sculpting.
Right. It's easy to forget that those stunning glass sculptures we see in museums and art galleries started as like molten blobs of sand and minerals.
It's true.
That's really cool. What are some of the most like intricate or surprising things that can be created through glass forming?
Oh, I mean, there's so many.
Yeah.
I mean, when most people hear glass forming, their minds just straight to like windows or bottles.
Right.
But
Yeah.
the artistic side of this field is just incredible.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's easy to like underestimate the skill and creativity
Oh, yeah.
involved in crafting like a delicate glass flower or a lifelike animal sculpture out of molten glass. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
Really incredible.
Yeah. And those pieces require an incredible understanding of the material,
Yeah.
timing, temperature control, all of that.
It's like they're sculpting with light and heat.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Do you have any like favorite examples
Oh, yeah.
of glass art or design
Oh, many.
that really showcase the possibilities of this material?
Yeah. I mean, there's a museum dedicated entirely to glass art in my hometown,
Uh,
and they have these like stunning stained glass windows that just like seem to change color with the light.
oh.
And then there's a whole section devoted to like contemporary glass sculptures
Hmm.
that look like they like defy gravity. It's mind-blowing what some artists can do with this material.
That's so cool.
It's really incredible.
See, that's what I love about these deep dives. You
Yeah.
uncover these these hidden worlds of
Uh,
creativity and skill that most people never even think about.
Absolutely, yeah. It's like a whole other world out
It
there.
really is.
Yeah.
And speaking of hidden worlds,
All right.
let's talk about the future of glass forming.
Okay.
We've touched on automation,
Mm-hmm.
but what about the bigger picture?
Right.
Like, are we heading towards a world where robots are running the whole show?
Right, right. So RoleCatcher makes a really interesting point about this.
Okay.
They say that while automation might change how things are made,
It won't eliminate the need for skilled human beings.
right,
Especially in a field like glass forming, where precision and adaptability and problem solving are so crucial.
right.
So,
So it's not about like fearing the robots.
Yes.
It's about learning to work with them.
exactly, yeah. It's about collaboration
Right.
between humans and machines.
That's interesting.
Yeah, imagine a future where glass forming machine operators are more like conductors,
Okay.
overseeing a symphony of automated systems and human expertise.
Right.
So their deep knowledge of the material, combined with their ability to troubleshoot issues and adapt to those new technologies,
Hmm.
will make them even more valuable in the years to come.
That's a much more optimistic outlook than I think most people would expect.
Yeah, it's not about humans versus machines.
You're right.
It's about finding ways to combine our strengths
Right.
and push the boundaries of what's possible with
Yeah.
that technology.
That's a good point.
And let's not forget about the growing demand for sustainable and eco-friendly products these days.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
That whole green wave is definitely making its way through
For sure.
the manufacturing world.
Mm-hmm.
How is the glass forming industry responding to that?
Well, glass itself is already a very sustainable material.
Oh,
It can be recycled endlessly without losing its quality,
wow.
which is really cool.
That is really cool.
But, there's always room for improvement.
Right.
We're seeing a push towards using more recycled glass in the manufacturing process
Okay.
and just finding ways to reduce energy consumption in glass forming plants.
So it's about making the process itself more sustainable,
Yeah,
not just the final product.
exactly.
Interesting.
And that's where, those skilled glass forming machine operators come in.
Right.
They're the ones who can optimize those processes, reduce waste,
Yeah.
and ensure that the industry is moving towards a more environmentally responsible future.
It's amazing how a career that might seem very traditional on the surface
Mm-hmm.
is actually at the forefront of innovation
Yeah,
and sustainability.
it's true.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's a great reminder that you shouldn't judge a book by its cover
Right.
or a career by its stereotypes.
Exactly.
There's a lot more to glass forming than meets the eye.
Yeah.
It's a field with a rich history, a bright future,
Mm-hmm.
and just endless possibilities for those who are drawn to the art and science of
Yeah.
working with this incredible material.
Well said. So for those listening who are intrigued by the idea of, shaping molten glass, troubleshooting complex machinery,
Mhm.
and maybe even becoming a sustainability champion.
Yeah.
What's the best way to learn more about this career path?
Well, RoleCatcher is a fantastic resource, as we've mentioned.
Yeah.
They have a whole section dedicated to glass forming machine operators with
Yeah.
detailed information on job duties, salary expectations, required skills, potential career paths.
It sounds like they've got you covered from A to Z.
They really do.
And on that note, I think we've reached the end of our deep dive into the fascinating world of glass-forming machine operators.
It's been fun.
We've covered a lot of ground today, from the history of the craft to the future of the industry.
It's a fascinating field.
If there's one thing we hope you take away from this episode, it's that curiosity and a willingness to learn can open doors to, unexpected and rewarding career paths.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So keep exploring, keep asking questions, and who knows, maybe you'll find yourself drawn to the heat and the challenge of shaping molten glass into something beautiful and useful.
It could happen.
Until next time, happy career exploring.
See you later.